Hey YouTube, it's your boy Widgie here, coming in with some more strategy games with Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. It's some more China gameplay, but in this game, I was on the 1v1 ranked ladder not too long ago. It's going to be a live casting that I'm going to do of this, and it was against a German player that goes for a mad Age 2 rush, and I've been seeing this more and more on the ladder, and I've been really struggling against it, and I make a crucial mistake that I keep making, and I'm going to try and teach you guys to basically not do what I do. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, feel free to drop a like. Let's jump into it. Hey YouTube, you find me on the battlefield, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, it is myself playing as China versus a German opponent, El Zorro. So we'll call him Zorro. And this is a very interesting game, guys. You know, we're going to see some Age 2 pressure here from my German opponent, and you're going to see a few blunders, and I'm going to try and help you guys along the way and basically try and sort of just don't do what I do. You know, I'm going to sort of point a few errors that I made here to try and improve your strategy if you are using this Chinese strategy. And I will be touching on Zorro's strategy as well in this. So if you're playing Germany and you do want to try out a very strong sort of Age 2 timing attack or rush, then this is also the way to go as well. Because I've been seeing this on the ladder quite a bit and it's pretty damn strong. So what we're doing here is China, we're opening up with the TP. We're going for the TP village. Now there's many other variations. You can go double village. You can maybe go triple village if you want to be super greedy, depending on your treasures, but we're going to be going with the village and TP. And if we look at my deck, well, we're not going to see that just yet. I haven't selected it, but we're going to be going with the northern refugees first. That gets you the muster of a villager from both your village and your town center. So I'll be getting 2 villagers. And the second card will be the T export card. And the T export card is the new card, or one of the new cards in the recent update of China. And yeah, we're going to see that in action. So you can see here I'm getting a treasure. I'm getting the 50 food treasure. I did nab a first one here. I can't even remember what that one was. But getting food treasures is really crucial because I built a TP. It means it delays my age up. You know, I'm having to chop wood, as you can see here. It delays the time, the food gathering time. And if we can find treasures that have food, it can boost our age up time a lot more effectively. And that's what we kind of want to focus on. The second one we want to focus on after that is kind of wood. Wood treasures are the second priority, I would say. And you can see here that I'm building my village next to a gold mine. This is why I really suggest always put a village next to a gold mine and then next to your hunts so that your villagers can garrison in them if you get raided. Especially against a German opponent, where a German opponent like Zorro here, if we have a look at Zorro and we see his deck, he's obviously a German player. I'm not too sure what that means. But if you see his deck, anything that he gets out adds a couple of Ulans on. You can see that, which are the heavy cav units. So, you know, Germany's really good at raiding, and Germany can be really good at sort of semi-FF play, so fast fortress play, where they get these Ulans and they can, if you're a really effective raider and you can multitask well, then Germany is your civilization. You know, they really aid in that. Their cav are really good. But we're going to be seeing some Age 2 madness, as I've already said. So let's have a look here. Let's see what Zorro's Explorer is looking around. Let's have a look at the vision of Zorro as well. You can see that he's actually covered quite a bit of the map already. We have a look at myself. I'm not doing the best. You know, I am finding some really good treasures, which is taking me a little bit of time to explore the map. Okay, so you can see here I'm getting my second shipment. It is going to be the T export, as I've mentioned. And this is going to give me the Constellar Rickshaw, and it's going to give me 100 export as well to spend. And the 100 export is actually the cost to ally with a given consulate. So basically it's free of charge to ally with whoever. And we're going to be allying with the Russians. That gives us the blockhouse. So we can get a blockhouse rickshaw that spawns when we have 225 exports. So you can see here at the moment I've got 160. And that is our play. And one of the downsides here that I really stress to you guys, which we're going to see shortly when I start to get into Age 2, is that try and use your Explorer to scout preemptively to see if your opponent is going to be putting out a forward base. So you can see here now that if I look at my vision, I'm starting to scout around to see if there is anything going on. I'm going to leave my Explorer sort of here, just on the outskirts of the enemy base, to see if there's going to be any sort of villagers pushing out forward to build anything or anything like that. But there isn't anything as of yet. If we have a look here, I am aging up with the Summer Palace. and I am allying with the Russians. Summer Palace, by the way, such a great building, and I always recommend to put it in a very defensive front position because it's a huge area, it's a huge space, it's got 5,000 HP, and it's just a really good chunky defensive building in itself. And on top of that, of course, it gives you that muster of a banner army over time. Now, if we go back to Zorro's here, let's have a look at what Zorro's doing. He's going into H2. He's going with the Quartermaster, so the 400 wood. And sometimes you might not see this. You might see the 200 gold, the Governor, the outpost, and 200 gold. But we do see now a TP going in transition. And we do see this settler here. Now, do I have vision on this settler? I don't, because what I've done is I didn't leave... See, if I left... I'm just going to pause here. If I left my Explorer here, like I did... I would have spotted that settler and I would have started to attack it, and my explorers would have just kept attacking that settler all the way to where it's going to be, which is around here. This is where Zorro is going to build his forward base. So that is a crucial first error from myself there. I should have left the explorer around the middle of the map just to see if it can pick up any settlers. That was a bad move for me. Let's take off the vision. And you can see that what I'm doing is I'm building a market in transition. So this kind of build, I'm not going to be going for H2 play here. That is not what this build is about. Now, initially, this build was about that. You can see my explorers have actually passed the settler wagon, and I don't think I even spotted him. No. So that's another error. I wasn't keeping an eye on my explorer. He completely walked past the settler, and I didn't see it at all. So you can see now that I'm getting 700 wood in, and I've got a blockhouse wagon coming in now. So I'm not going for a fast fortress at this moment in time. I want to play H2, and you can see here as I'm rolling out my blockhouse, what do I see? I see an outpost going down. Now, if we have a look at Zorro quickly, look what he's got coming in. He's got 8 crossbow and 2 Ulans, and that outpost that he's going to build, he's going to be able to garrison his troops from there. And on top of that, he's building a barracks here as well. So immediately I know this is going to be H2 play from Germany. Very aggressive, and it's a very strong sort of play indeed. So we see 8 crossbowmen coming out with the 2 Ulans, as I mentioned. And now I'm in a sticky situation because he's trying to siege this as I'm building the blockhouse. Didn't do too much damage, thankfully. And I don't really want to lose my Explorer here because the Explorer is so crucial with China. Really, really good unit. Just a great tanky unit. You can put him in cover mode, so his range resistance is increased. He creates disciples if you have excess food. Just can be a really good sort of meat shield, and unfortunately I do lose him, which was really, really unfortunate. And I want to be careful now of my raids, so I've made sure that I've sort of pulled my hunts in quite effectively, and that's exactly what's going on. And we can see from my opponent here, what is he creating? He's creating some further crossbowmen. I do get a pop of my Kashyyyks and Step Riders. So I started to create that banner army. I can't remember which one it is. It's the brown banner army. You can see that now my opponent Zorro is getting a few vills here, which is a little bit lazy of me. Maybe a little bit too overconfident there. Losing 2 villagers to raids, which is not good. I do have a card available that I haven't selected yet. So that is not good news. I definitely need to be doing that. So that's another sort of error that I made there, not getting in those cards. And you can see that I did pop some irregulars. I think that was quite a good choice, to be honest. Just to sort of stand by, you know. And I'm going to see if I can get another... I don't think I even bother training another unit from the blockhouse, you know. And you can see that I've got a lot of wood stacked up here because I went for the 700 wood, and you can now see that I'm going for 7 Step Riders. You know, I've seen a lot of crossbowmen. He's got well over maybe about 15 nearly crossbowmen. So I thought going for the Step Riders is probably the best bet. And you can see now that I've built a War Academy in a nice defensive position. So this is a good placement behind your TC. So it's difficult for the opponent to siege. And I'm going to start making the standard army, which is food and gold. And the standard army will give you the Step Riders and the Chew Canoes. And I think that's the best combo that we've got against a crossbowman, crossbow, Ulan, pike sort of mix here from Zorro. I think going for the standard army is good. You know, if I did keep my blockhouse, which unfortunately I didn't, I would be creating the other banner army, which gives you Kashyyyks and Step Riders. But unfortunately, that was not the case. You can see here I've now got a strong sort of 12 Step Riders. And I'm just going to try and get these guys stuck in. And this is kind of a little bit of an error here from Zorro. He's kind of pushed out a little bit too much. He does have a couple of pikemen, but I'm microing my Chu canoes on them to deal with them, which is great to see from myself. So pat on the back for me. And you can see like doing a really good job pushing him back here. Feeling really confident about this. And, you know, guys, if you can really deal with an H2 push well and, you know, your opponent's tempo completely just diminishes, you're in an extremely good position. You pretty much won the game. If you just, you know, macro well and you just play a good standard game, you pretty much got it. So we are going to be trading Ulans with Step Riders. Now, I'm just going to pause it here because this is probably not the best trade for me because Ulans have 37 damage, whereas my poor little Step Riders, they only have 15. You know, they don't have as much HP either as Ulans. So trading Step Riders with Ulans is definitely not the way to go. So that's something that I need to learn. And once again, that's another mistake there. Doing that trade was not good. I should have just brought the Step Riders back under the TC and waited for some pikes. So you can see here now that my Summer Palace, I've got that on the free whole old Han army coming in there. And you can see now my next shipment is the Chang pikeman, or the Qiang pikeman. I'm going to say Chang pikeman. Now, what I'm doing with the consulate is I switched it from Russia and I've changed it to Germany. Now, guys, I suggest you do this. If you're going to be playing H2 and you do go for the T-Export card and you want to open up with a blockhouse, then I would really suggest that the minute you do, switch back to the Germany allies. Sort of end the relations with Russia, switch to Germany. And the reason that is because Germany gives you a passive reduction on your banner army cost. So if you're going to be producing lots of banner armies, which you should be doing if you're playing an H2, the Germany consulate is going to be the key consulate or the key ally for you to pick in the mid game. And that's exactly what I went for. I don't give the best shipments, you know, but that's not really what it's about. Oh, sorry, their shipments are the trickles, actually. Sorry, no, they are good shipments. The trickles, they have a food trickle and a wood trickle. I tend to go for the wood trickle first. It's sort of depending. It doesn't really matter which one you go for, but it's whatever you're sort of struggling with. If you're struggling with wood, go for the wood trickle. If you're going for old Han army, you want to go wood trickle. If you're not, probably go food. Because if you're going standard army, that's going to be food and gold macro. So you're probably going to want the food trickle first. Okay, so you can see here what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that my Vils, you know, are constantly on food. My Chang pikemen have come in. So I've got 9 strong Chang pikemen here. And it's kind of like a crossbow pike standoff right now. You know, we've got the crossbows versus the Chu canoes. Now, the Chu canoes don't have as much HP, but they do have a pretty good rate of fire. Actually, no, they're about the same, actually. No, crossbows are actually better than Chu canoes here. Just slightly better, but we do see my Step Riders now coming in, and we got some scary doppels here, which are really, really scary units. They have an area effect damage, and you want to target those bad boys down as quickly as possible. And Zorro got that out from a shipment card. You can see here that he's got it here, the doppels. You really want to be careful of those, so try and use your ranged units to deal with them. And yeah, this was kind of a crazy back and forth game, guys. There's no way that this is an easy game for me. You know, I'm really struggling here. It's a really intense game. This guy's elo is quite higher than mine. I did get quite a lot of elo. So yeah, it is a little bit higher, but it's a real test of micro and making sure that you're constantly macroing and spending your resources. You can see here Zorro's resources sort of all over the place. He's got 1,300 food backed up and 400 wood. And you can see mine isn't as bad. I'm sort of spending my resources quite well. You can see that my Explorer's now up and I've got him in cover mode. So you can see now that he's in cover mode. Look at that, 55% range resistance now because he's in cover mode. And he's also got 50% artillery or siege resistance as well. And now I've actually decided to reinforce and build a second war academy as I'm building my economy up. And now I'm feeling pretty good. We've got more Step Riders coming out. Step Riders are really good at siege, a really good sort of raiding unit, good at taking buildings down, good at taking villages down. And that is exactly what we're doing here. So I'm making sure just to try and target the outpost as best I can here and deal with his age 2 pressure. Next shipment coming out is 8 Chu canoes. So I'm basically just still pumping out units now. I went 700 wood and I'm just going into units. You know, I've got the opportunity here to go for the Rattans. And now I've got another shipment. That is definitely going to be my next shipment. I've got 600 gold. I've got a good gold income. And there it is. The Rattan shields are going to be coming out after the Shukanus. So once again, I've sort of, unfortunately, lost that battle there. You know, he got another good shipment. I don't know whether he got the 5 Ulan shipment. I don't think he did. I think he just sort of mustered another bunch of, or trained another bunch of crossbowmen there. And now I'm in a sticky situation because luckily I've got these 2 pikes to save me here. Because if I didn't, then I would have lost a lot of Chukanus. Because these Ulans have a really high damage. And I'm just going to sort of trade my Chukanus here. You know, I've got quite a lot of them. It's a favourable trade. I could put some villagers in the TC here to assist with TC fire. But I just sort of take that fight basically. And you can see here now he's just continuing to siege the TP. He really doesn't want me to have this TP. So he took it down. I mean, this is a bit of a silly trade here. I'm just sort of chucking my step riders away. I don't think I was looking at the fight there, but my Chukanus do manage to deal with them. Now this situation is probably still quite scary. You know, you're probably thinking I'm in a dicey situation. My score difference is quite, you know, it's relatively large, the difference there. And, you know, the whole thing around the score, you know, it's like a mental game, really. It's like score anxiety, I call it, you know, and it can really affect your play. If you're constantly looking at your score, it can really affect the way that you think and the way that you play. So just try and ignore it if you can. It is useful to have as a metric to see where you are in the game, to see if you have the advantage or if you don't, but just don't try and let it take over your emotions too much in your decision making and your play. And just see, you know, what you can do. We do see that there's a 2k score difference. He does have more villagers than me, and he also does have settlers as well. So he's doing a good job at making villagers. I'm not doing a good enough job here making vills. So that's another sort of issue for me there. I didn't make enough vills. But what do we see? We see my 10 Rattan shipment coming out here. It's right here. We've got all of these Chukanus and Step Riders all ready to go, and I'm feeling confident now to do another push and see if we can end this sort of battle. And the Rattan shields are going to be perfect for this because they're really fast-moving units, 6.25, and they will easily chase down these crossbowmen, and they're not going to be able to do anything. You know, they've got a great range resist, 20% range resist, and it's just going to clear up all of these crossbowmen. We do see a couple of Ulans coming round, and we can see that Zoro's trying to train some more. But unfortunately, it is just not enough. We've got some more pike here, luckily, that I've got from my summer palace, and it's just all working out pretty nice for me now. The Rattan shields are doing a good job at taking down the crossbowmen. I love this unit. Such a great card to have in H2 if you have some extra gold lying around. And there we go, guys. That's it. That is the game right there. So a very sort of back and forth game there. You know, that was really intense for me when I was playing that. It doesn't look as intense when you're casting a replay, but trust me, this one was really, really intense for me. And, you know, all I can say is there's a few mistakes that I made, but I'm sort of using this I'm using this cast to sort of showcase this Germany Age 2 push because it was really devastating. And I've played a couple of games before this where I easily lost against German players that do this kind of rush. You know, they have this church card here. They build a church as well, and they just do this sort of insane rush, and it is really scary. So, you know, just try and scout if you can with your explorer. You can see that I really messed up early in the game. I didn't scout the settler wagon that was moving out into the map. So try and scout as best you can. I stupidly just moved my blockhouse wagon, you know, without any sort of military units reinforcing it. I just moved it out and I just planted it right next to an outpost that was being built by my opponent. So not a very good sort of thing for me to do there. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this cast. Let me know in the comments below if you want to give this a try, this kind of play. Once again, it's an interesting new look at China, and I'll be doing a separate video on this because this is a build that sort of I was inspired by Minimolt, who's quite a well-known top-end player of China, one of the best, I would say. And yeah, I'm going to be showcasing in a separate video a build that's similar to the one that I did here. But this video is just to demonstrate the H2 rush from Germany and how to sort of try and deal with it as China. You know, just try and just play a defensive game, use your head a little bit, and know when to take a fight and when not to. Try and micro the best you can and just spend your resources. You know, you can see Zoro here racking up so much food. You know, he should have definitely been moving some of those veals over to gold, and just try and do that, because you can see me here. I'm not too bad with my spending, and that's all I can really suggest. So I hope you guys really enjoyed it. As I say, if you do, let me know down in the comments below. And of course, if you did find it entertaining, useful, all that good stuff, feel free to drop a like. I'll catch you in the next stream or the next video.